Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and this is my late diagnosis autistic and ADHD vlog. I also talk about having aphantasia and my memory disorder SDAM, which stands for severely deficient autobiographical memory on this channel. I haven't been talking about aphantasia or my memory disorder as often lately. I have a lot more videos of that at the beginning of the channel. I would like to talk about it more. It does affect my daily life. It's just sometimes there's just not as much to say about it. But if anybody ever has any questions, let me know. Basically, my memory disorder means that I don't have autobiographical memories of my life. And I have semantic memory. That means that I will remember the facts about some of the things that have happened to me, but I don't remember the lived experience of the event. And honestly, it's okay. I just had to pause the video here because it's so ironic that I started this one talking about my memory disorder. I filmed this video yesterday, but didn't have time to edit it. Oftentimes I film, edit, and upload in the same day. That's just how I run my channel. But yesterday was crazy busy. So I filmed it and then sat down this morning to edit. And when I was uploading the file, I was like, what did I talk about yesterday? I don't remember what this video is about. And that's a perfect example of my memory disorder. I don't have autobiographical memory, but I have semantic memory. So I remembered I filmed a video yesterday right here in this spot. I don't remember what the topic is. So I'm uploading it and I'm watching, and I'm going to find out as I'm editing what the heck I even talked about yesterday because I don't remember. This applies to offline situations too. When I meet a friend for tea, I might remember that I met her and we had a really good conversation, but oftentimes I don't remember what we talked about. Sometimes I might remember some highlight topics, but the lived experience of the event, I often just don't remember, and that's part of my memory disorder. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting enough, especially since I started this video talking about my memory disorder and then literally not remembering what the video is about. The rest of the video I know isn't about my memory disorder, but just very uncanny. If somebody said, I could cure one of your neurodivergencies, and I hate to say that really, but if someone said that, I love being autistic. I would really want my memories, but that actually is complicated too, because if somebody actually said that they could fix my memories and I could have them all back, I feel like that would be really overwhelming to my system, and I think that would be more than I could bargain for. I mean, think about it. I don't have any memories of my life, and if they all just came rushing back, oh, that would probably put me in a mental health crisis, panic situation. I can just imagine. But as for being autistic and having ADHD, it's been a roller coaster of emotions since getting diagnosed, but I wouldn't change it. It is who I am, and even though autism is a disability in our culture because the majority brain type is neurotypical, allistic brains, I really love the way that I see the world and approach problems and things like that. And I wouldn't change that for anything. What I would change is that more neurotypical people are taught about autistic brains and some of the things that we struggle with. Like I talked in my last video, is when we are trying to understand new subjects and we're trying to learn we are often told that we're being, what's the right word? Belligerent, something with authority, questioning authority, just like when our genuine intention is just to learn, it gets twisted around away from us a lot more. And I don't know how neurotypical people go about learning now. The thing is like, and one thing that I wanted to talk about in this video a little bit is the autistic mask. And my brain created a mask when I was a kid. And I'm learning about it now. With my diagnosis, I'm kind of like peeling back the layers of what that mask was. But it was created by a child's brain. And every time that I would get corrected for doing something, or I would see somebody else get made fun of if they did something, my brain would file that away and say, don't do that, don't act that way. And then that's what created my masked persona, so that I could appear neurotypical to fit into situations. It's also why many of us highly masked autistic people don't get diagnosed until we're adults and we hit a burnout, because we cannot maintain the mask. It would be interesting if I was back in school and I was purposely now looking for the way that neurotypical people learned and interacted with the teacher, knowing I'm autistic. I'm curious, because I know that how I learn as an adult isn't the same as other adults who are trying to learn, because whenever I'm trying to learn something, it just doesn't get met with kindness. It's met with like, oh, why are you asking those questions? I don't know. It's hard to describe. That wasn't what this video was going to be on. Let's get back on topic, because I did have a topic today. This wasn't meant to be an Amanda's Rambles. They all are to some extent, right? No, I did want to talk a bit about the mask. And so every autistic person who is high masking, there are some autistic people who can't mask at all, and some autistic people mask to some degree. I would be what you would consider high masking, because it went undetected till I was 42 to be exact. And so one of the things that I have learned about the mask that my brain created was that of being perfect. In my video on religion, I talked about putting others' comfort ahead of my own. So my mask, I like to say, is neurotypical.exe. It's like a code that my brain would run before I did anything, before I said anything, did anything, acted in any way. And it would say, be perfect, make perfect choices, which we know that's impossible, right? It would say, be a good girl, which is similar to being perfect, but a little bit different. Be a good girl, and put other people's comfort ahead of your own. And as you can see, the reason why it would break down by the time I'm 40, because if you are running those 3 codes through your brain before you make any action, all you're left with is a shell of a human being. I didn't have any opinions for myself. I was very careful to only pick topics to talk about that were considered safe, that wouldn't cause any kind of controversy. I was always putting everyone ahead of my own needs, which led again to burnout. And being perfect meant that I was highly unrelatable. So as an autistic person, one of the diagnostic criteria is social struggles and reading social cues and reading in between the lines and nonverbal communication that happens a lot of times with autistic people. And then when you've got somebody who is always acting perfect, people didn't want to be my friend because I was like always on a higher pedestal, because nobody could compete with what I was doing because it was perfect. And I didn't know I was a masked person. Like, I did not know I had an autistic mask. I did not know that I was doing these things. I know that sounds weird. Yes, I knew I was doing them, but I didn't know why. Let's put it that way. And I also was frustrated because I knew I wasn't perfect. And I was like, why can't anybody see that? Why does everybody think I'm perfect when I know I'm not perfect? And I didn't realize that I wasn't ever letting anybody in to see the real me. Like, that was kind of where some of the disconnect was. So I was kind of like one of those Pinterest moms within a budget. Okay. Cause like I wasn't perfect in the way that like a lot of the Pinterest moms would go way out of budget. But like when I threw birthday parties for my kids, like it was so cute. It was so on theme. There were like all these little fun games that I handmade. I handcrafted everything. I sewed everything. I made all my kids' food homemade from scratch. They like didn't even know what a candy bar I think was until they were 5 or something. And it wasn't because I was trying to be better than anybody. It wasn't that I was trying to be snobby. It was that I, having a very literal autistic brain, I thought these were the things you were supposed to do as a mom. So I was doing them, and I never gave myself any grace for leeway because neurotypical.exe says you have to be perfect. Like, I always was operating at 200% capacity because otherwise I thought I was a complete failure. There was no, that's where some of that black and white thinking comes in. There was no in between. It was all or nothing. And yes, and if anybody says, well, everybody does this, then you need to refer to my video that no, not everybody is autistic. Because I did this to such a degree that is what makes it autism. It makes it pathological. It makes it like this was not a normal level of perfectionism, and I never let anybody see behind the mask. Another way my perfectionism showed up was not to try new things unless I knew that I couldn't fail at them. So again, that very much limited who and what I could be, because if you aren't willing to fail, then you're not going to be trying much stuff. Another one was never ever admitting that I was struggling or having anxiety. I didn't admit it to myself. I didn't admit it to my spouse. I didn't admit it to my parents. My dad is like not in the picture. I didn't admit it to my mom. I didn't admit it to friends. So I had all these struggles, but because I didn't even admit them to myself, of course I wasn't talking about them to anybody else. I would tell people that I didn't have anxiety, even though I really did. I just would shove it down, push through, soldier through, figure it out. That's the thing. Amanda can figure anything out. That was what people thought of me. That's who I was to people. And they could count on me and depend on me when they needed something. And it was all at the detriment of my own mental health because I wasn't taking care of myself. I was always putting everyone ahead of myself. I was always pushing through instead of dealing with feelings, just shoving them aside and powering through and just collapsing when things got too much, but never, ever telling anybody that when I was struggling and needed that downtime, that was like very much hidden. Just having this vlog is a like complete reversal of my mask, putting myself out there, learning out loud with you guys, admitting to where I'm struggling, like my last video, which was so scary to publish, because admitting where I am trying to learn something new, not an easy thing for me to do. Anytime I was trying to learn something new, it would be done in secret because I could not fail. But just doing this vlog is like ultimate of like, you know, potential public failure. And I am pushing myself in different ways. Like I pushed through anxiety. Now I'm just trying to find out who I am under the mask. These are things that it's like when you say, what are your secret desires? I would never admit to them before, but now I'm trying to live them out loud. I'm trying to be the person I was behind the mask that I didn't know existed. So I'm discovering who I am now. And I was just in therapy this morning, and we talked about that in great detail. How hard it's been to grieve who I was and try to learn who I am. And it's been a process. One of the things we talked about was how I've known myself to be a foodie my entire life. That was something I was really proud of, that I love to try new foods and explore new foods and textures. And I've said that so many times. But it's like as these layers of the mask keep coming off, I've been struggling with food lately. I never thought that was going to be me. I don't know if it's temporary or if this is just another layer of sensory that I'm opening my brain to being able to deal with. But some of my favorite dishes that I've had for years, suddenly I can't eat anymore. And that's been really hard because it's like a huge part of my identity was in food and cooking and learning how to cook and learning new dishes and trying new restaurants. And all of that's been really hard for me the last couple of weeks. And I'm just not even ready or wanting to deal with that. It's like I just want something to be how it was before diagnosis. And while I'm excited and happy to shed the mask because it wasn't real, it wasn't good for me, it was leading to a mental health crisis. I'm in a mental health crisis. I was talking to my therapist today that I am on the verge of tears like every second of the day lately. And we're working through that. And she said, so she's still learning about autism too. She's on this journey with me. She's taking extended education classes. She's reading books on autism, getting updated on current literature, things like that. Amazing, right? She's like, I wish I could look at you and tell you that it's going to get better. She's like, I don't know that yet. She's like, my sense is that you will get to a place of equilibrium. And I agree with her. I feel like eventually I will get there. But when you build a mask for 40 years, it's going to take a long time to uncover it. So I'm very thankful about the kids. I call them kids. Oh my God, I'm old. My subscribers who are finding out that they're autistic in their 20s, like, oh my gosh, I wish you had learned when you were a kid. I wish I had learned when I was a kid. But I'm also very thankful that you are finding out in your 20s, because that would have made a huge difference in my life. And it's also very valid to be frustrated that you're just finding out you're autistic in your 20s. And I've had subscribers who are telling me they're in their 60s and 70s and they're finding out they're autistic. And I get it. And a lot of y'all are like, I don't even want to unmask. And I get it, and that's valid. I had to. I was at a point where I was not in a good space. That's all I want to say right now. And the last one that I have down here about being perfect was never asking for help. Never, ever admitting I needed help. I couldn't go to a therapist because that would mean I wasn't perfect. And let me be clear, I thought therapy was great for everybody else. But my brain said that I couldn't go to a therapist because I had to be perfect, and perfect people can't go to therapy. And it is all garbage. It's so garbage. And perfectionism is not real. And my brain was just trying to protect me as a little child. So, your brains, if you were masked, it was just your protection. It's what you had to do to survive childhood as an undiagnosed autistic person. Because that's the thing that I really wish that allistic society would understand, is that our brains create these masks to make it so that we can survive situations with the least amount of harm done to us. Our school system is not set up for autistic brains. Our workforce is not set up for autistic brains. Our society is not set up for autistic brains. And so our mask keeps us safe. And I'm thankful I have the privilege to unmask. Some people don't. They would lose their job if they tried to unmask. I hope for those people that y'all find safe places to unmask in sometimes, and whenever you can, and use your accommodations wherever you can. Oh my gosh, I really did not think this was going to be another crying video. I'm so sorry, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are an allistic person watching this to learn about more autism, I am so grateful for you. Bye.